Well, please, thank you. That's good.
Yep.
So far.
I know, right? Right. Yep. Oh, let me live 3, 2, and 1. Welcome to another edition of the Empower Hour. I am Al Kumar,
And I am Hanifa.
and we are your hosts each and every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. where we come to you live and direct on the eLife Studios with impactful topics of discussion that affect our everyday lives. Of course, today will be no different. In the studio, I have with me today Hanifa George.
Hanifa.
Hanifa. It's just us today,
Yes,
family.
just us.
Just us today, and we're going to dig in with your help, of course. The value of black women. Do we value black women in this society?
That's questions that need answers.
Yes. So that we're going to dig into that today. So tell us what you think. If you want to give us a call here, give us a buzz at 240-455-5934. Let us know if you can hear us okay too. We got this new mechanism on Facebook Live, family. So Facebook Live, if you hear us okay, let us know, because again, we have this new mechanism for sound, and we want to know if it's coming through clear on your end. The value of black women. Hanifa?
Yeah, the value of black women. I'm kind of writing my things so I can share. Forgive me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we value black women, you think, in this society?
Not enough.
Not enough.
No.
What makes you say that?
Well, for me personally, I think we can start with our own community. Like I said, our own, so within our own communities, what does that look like? And I think I'm starting to realize that when we talk about community, we got to be really clear on what we're talking about, because there is a community of like people who are conscious or aware,
Yes.
as far as their blackness and their status and their position in this country. Okay, and that's a community within itself.
True.
And we have other communities of black people. I'm not. We have the what do you call it, the bourgeois community, bourgeoisie community.
The boule.
Yes, and then we have those that come from, what we call the hood.
Okay.
Those are communities too, and certainly you see different levels of the valuing of black women depending on which community you're in.
Interesting.
That's what I've observed.
Right.
Yeah, because in one community it can look like this, and in another one, even the ones where they call the black woman God, you still kind of see where she plays this second-class citizen role. Oftentimes, her input is not valued.
Right.
Yeah. So even in those communities as well, and then you go to the hood, there's a lot of abuse, domestic violence, rape. That's a big one. That goes kind of like unreported. And not only that, in some of our communities, we protect the rapists. And when we say we're saying black women, we're talking about black girls too.
Yeah,
yes.
no doubt.
Yes.
No,
So
they definitely fall under that category.
yeah, in a sense, I would say we can be valued more. We can be valued more.
I agree with that. This whole in recent news, for instance, the value of black girls. We can even go into like the justice for Malaya, the young girl that her mom left her.
4-year-old.
With
Yes. Okay.
the boyfriend, a fiance, and I think they were soon to be married. And I think, if I'm getting the stories right, and she went out of town for a funeral and left her 4-year-old with this man
Who is not her biological father.
who's not her biological father, and who she had suspected prior of being of abusing the child.
No way. Oh, okay.
Physically and sexually.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people in the uproar about. They're like, they think she should be charged as well, because how do you already have this information in your arsenal and still leave your child?
Well, I'm not sure about the arrest part for that, but I do know we do have kids who come into foster care. That's one of the charges against the parents is failure to protect.
Oh,
your kids can be removed because of that.
Oh,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. So if you have a boyfriend who, let's say, abused one of your kids, say you have like a couple of kids, and one of them were abused, and they remove the kid, or even like the boyfriend abused that particular child, that child is removed out the home. So reunification can be possible. Like the child can go back to the parent, but as long as he's not in the home. And we have cases where the mom refused to remove the abuser for whatever reason. So the child then cannot be reunited or reconnected with the mom because of that. You get what I'm saying? And most people look at that, but I think also there's a survival aspect of it that we don't consider. Because it's easier for us to say, that's my child, I will put my child first over everybody else, when you are not coming from some of these people's environments and backgrounds and so forth.
That's a good
Sometimes
point.
they can't see any other way, and it boils down to a matter of hungry.
Yeah.
Or I bring my child, you know what I'm saying? Or I leave my child out the home and just make sure that they're in good hands. You know what I mean? It's like a trade-off, right? It's not right, but it happens.
Yeah.
But there is something called failure to protect, and that's what that sounds like.
Wow.
She left her with even knowing or feeling that he was abusing her.
Yeah, and what I find, because if that is the case, then she certainly bears some responsibility for what happened. But what I find in our society too is we tend to kind of place more blame and emphasis on the mother.
Yes.
Like even in this instance, okay, she's dead wrong. I'm not supporting and taking up for neither one of those individuals. But I noticed that people are like, what's wrong with her? Why did she leave him with her? How dare she do that? You're not protecting your child. I'm like, where's all the anger and uproar for the man who actually abused this child? Who actually killed this child? Why isn't the uproar as strong for him as it is for the mother who left her?
Because we've come to accept single parent homes as the norm for our communities. It's become the norm. We've normalized it. So what happens is, because we've normalized it, it's like, this is what it is. This is how it is. So therefore, any responsibility that could have fell on men and should fall on men, fall on women by default, because we have become this single parent household community. So now it's look like, so all of the responsibility now falls on the black woman.
Yeah, I found that fascinating though. How most of the responses is a lash out at the woman. You know what I'm saying? They don't even approach what happened to this child and who did it. Yeah. And the psychological effect of, you know what I'm saying? That didn't even come into play. It's her. Attack her. So it's just, it's a sad state.
So they're still following the case, right? They're still investigating,
They're still investigating the case. I'm not like on it like an investigative reporter would be. But I'm just hearing, I'm, read little clips, so when it comes up, I kind of, focus in, but I don't know all the gory details. Family, if you guys hearing all of the baby talk in the background,
that's mine.
That is because we have two new mommies in the room with us, and we're a village over here. So, we don't stop the show when the children come. We bring them into what we're doing. So, apologies if it's a little bit of more noise than normal in the background, but the babies are here with us. Join our conversation. If you have anything you want to share, what do you think? Are we valued as black women in this society? If so, how? Let us know how, and if not, why not? We want to hear from you guys today as well. And the call-in number, you can type your comments right on the screen. Or you can call us at 240-455-5934.
And put your comments in, because I am watching the stream, the question.
Hip-hop culture.
What about it?
How does hip-hop value or devalue the black woman?
Does hip-hop value the black woman?
the culture of hip hop.
Yeah, does it? I mean, let's be real about that.
Well, I know, there's a lot of songs that
That's
come
demeaning.
that are very demeaning for women. However, you hear a lot of women who support these songs and bob their heads to the beat and are in the videos.
True.
And you know what I'm saying? So, because I can hear a lot of brothers out there that'll take that stance. It's like, well, women ain't complaining. So why should we change anything?
Because a lot of the things that they're calling women in their songs, women are calling each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bees, hoes.
Yeah. I think the valuing of black women has to begin with black women.
I agree.
And then it also, secondly, it has to come from the men as well, our own men, black men.
Yeah.
Because that is how our image is protected. You know what I mean? So if we create a positive image of ourselves, the black man, I feel like it is his job also to protect that image as well as ourselves. But I think that the valuing of black women have to start with black women.
Yeah.
And so the question becomes, do we value ourselves?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. And from the looks of it, and of course there's pockets of individuals who have, a lot more self-respect and self-adoration than others. But overall, in general, when you turn on the radio and hundreds and thousands of people are listening to the same tunes and every other word is you be or bees ain't nothing but hoes and tricks and money
we're putting
over
our
bees
hands up to it and
we bopping our heads
we're saying that's my jam.
And we turn around and use that same language towards each other. Then I don't see how that's valuing ourselves. Actually, that's degrading ourselves. And what I find fascinating too is even like in addition to that N-word, and how if other people from other cultures use it, we get all up in the uproar, and they're like, well, you use it all day, every day. When I can only use it. It's like I can only devalue myself. I'm the one that can degrade myself, not you.
What are you doing? I got this.
Right.
Why are you even trying to devalue me? I got this. I got this covered.
I got this.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that you even get all up in arms if somebody uses that word. So if that word can draw up so much anger and derogatory energy within you, why then would you turn around and use that same word to describe yourself?
It beats me, because you know how I feel about that already. It makes no sense.
No common sense.
And we still, up to this day, there are people that still try to make sense of it, and it makes no sense.
So
it really is.
And it's a lot of things we do on a regular basis that we don't even recognize we do. It's subconsciously. We do it so often and frequently that we don't even stop to think about what we're doing. But that's self-destructive.
But as far as value is concerned, I think that it starts with ourselves, right? And because the black community has so many single parent homes, this is why this is so important. Because if most of our men are being raised by single mothers, okay, no fathers around, it is important what we instill, right? And a lot of times you think as long as we tell kids not to do A, B, C, D, that they're not going to do it. We don't understand that most of what our kids learn is by watching us.
Right.
So, by example. So, as adults, we love to be like, well, don't curse. But we curse in front of them all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, because for us, we feel like kids are supposed to be able to follow our directions no matter what. Like, we shouldn't have to do any extra work, like be an example, for example, But the valuing of black women in black homes, it have to start in black homes. You know what I mean? The images that you are showing your sons. You know what I mean? For me, it's very important for me as far as home decor, that my sons see images that look like him, of women. Like my whole entire living room is full of like images of black women. You know what I mean? Because that's important.
Yeah.
That's important, and even at 7 now, you see the effect that has. Because you'll hear him ask me like, is she black? Yeah. You know, if I'm talking about someone, like if it's a positive thing, that's the first thing he'll ask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it starts with us. It starts in the home. These things that we're seeing now, something went wrong very early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Amma says. She said, I would ask, do we value ourselves?
Yeah.
And how do we show it? People respond to the order we set.
Mm-hmm.
That's real. We just got finished talking about that in the language we use.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, you setting the precedence right in your very own home by you not even speaking. It's just by visual, because the visual is impactful.
Right.
You know?
Right. Because who when you have your television on, for example, you know, who are you following? Who are you looking up to on television? You know what I mean? Are you following the Kardashians? You know what I'm saying?
Or the ones that just got married over there in London, England, over there, the royal.
Oh, the royal Meghan and the prince. Like who are you following? You know what I mean? Because your children are watching, especially our young girls. Because we're talking about valuing a black woman, have to start with black women. We're talking about black girls. What is it that we're teaching them? So before we even get to the focus on a broader scope as far as society is concerned, we have to start individually, and then we have to deal with like the nucleus, which is the family, and then we deal with our communities. It goes out, you know, starts from inside out.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah, because you can't, because that's where your morals and your what's the word I'm looking for? Your value, you know, and everything is created right there in home. So how do you take it out and share it with others if you don't even get it from home? You didn't even get it from the root. Yeah, it's like the doll test too. I think about the doll test. I asked one time, even today, you'll still have a lot of black women in particular that'll say, I don't care what kind of doll my child plays with. You know, it could be a black doll, could be a white doll, it doesn't matter to me. Because, you know, what we don't really understand, especially the current environment we find ourselves in this society, and the effect that all that plays. I think we don't understand it on a deeper level, the impact that you're sending to your child's mind and brain, and who she looks up to, what does she value, what does she put emphasis on. When something as simple as a doll you give her to play with, and it's a white doll, and she prefers these white dolls over black dolls, and then when she gets older, you know, she looks at white people in reverence and want to look like them and be like them. They want her hair to look like them. She want contact lenses so she can be like them, or, you know, admire them when she turn on the TV. We don't understand how all that starts right at home.
Because here's the truth: there's a world out there waiting for your child that is eager to tell them how much they are not liked. That's eager to tell them how ugly their features are. That's eager to tell them that something is wrong with the skin that they find themselves in. There's a world out there waiting. You know what I mean? And so you have to make sure you equip them to face that world. Because if you don't, the world is going to win them over into their lie. And their lie becomes your child's truth. So we have a job as parents. You know what I mean?
Real. Yeah, I remember I took some college courses at the local college, and I remember, because I never finished high school. Actually, I never even went to high school. I removed myself from school in the ninth grade.
You rebel, you.
I tell people that. I don't use the word drop out.
I'm not. You got the hand movement too. I removed myself
from public school in the ninth grade, right? But I did go back. I got the whole GED thing, went to college courses, and I remember taking a Black History course at college, and it was my first introduction to
real Black history.
Black history. And I was so surprised and so proud, and and it's like at that point I went and everything I could find to put my hands on to learn more about history I did. But just opening the door to that information gave me a sense of pride.
Yeah.
And so when we don't have that, you know,
Yeah.
growing up and stuff, and all we know is European history, then we tend to put all our pride in that,
And you
because we
can't,
don't know any better.
right? And we cannot underestimate the power of imagery.
Yeah.
Images,
Mhm.
that is powerful.
Mhm.
You don't even have to say much, but if you have images all across your home, and it's of nothing, like there's this really popular image that people, what's the lady's name that sang the whole sexy happy birthday to the president?
Oh, what's her name?
Yeah, right.
Family? Marilyn
Thank
Monroe.
you. There's a popular image of her, like a poster.
Yeah.
A lot of black women have that
Oh,
because it's
yeah.
on T-shirts and stuff.
Mhm.
The image of the white so-called Jesus.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Betty Boop.
There you go,
That's
Betty
another
Boop. All of that. Yeah. So imagery is very, very important.
Mhm.
You have to also know that most of the programs that are out there, like television shows, even for kids,
Mhm.
you have to, like, I looked at a movie the other day, and one of the things that I noticed in the movie, the one white guy got slapped. He was a police officer. He got slapped, and he was like, "Hey," you know, and just was like, he said something and walked away. If you pay attention, there's a lot of that in movies where the white man is always shown as having self-control.
Mm.
And then when you see anything pertains to violence, as far as the black man is concerned, we go at each other.
Mm.
Or we ready to fight, or there's a lot of emotionalism involved, right? But that discipline is always reflected when it comes to the white man.
Mm.
So little things like that, little
Subtle.
subtle messages, right? And if you understand the subconscious mind, you know how important that is. So like even programming, as far as what your kids are watching, as innocent as it may look, sometimes you have to sit and kind of like watch it and be like, what messages
Yeah.
are they getting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just watching, the TV was on here last night, and I was picking up little things from, I think it's Blackish. I believe it was Blackish
Mhm.
that was on.
Mhm.
And
That's a popular show. Mhm.
yeah, and it was a episode where the father didn't want his children going overnight, spending no time overnight with some other family or
Mhm.
whatever. He was adamant, and the mom was trying to convince him that it was okay.
Mhm.
And then they bought the parents of the people house they were going over,
Mhm.
which were white people.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we do this, we do that, we do all that. So it's like, at the end of the day, they worked this man's guards down to them being like, oh, it's okay to let my children go with this white couple and stay overnight. And I thought about the subliminal message to that.
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm sure it's a lot of single parents watching that. And without understanding how media works,
Mhm.
that they see all that and be like, well, maybe I'm being a little too sheltered with my children. If they doing this on TV, maybe it's okay for me to do it too. And we don't even realize that all that plays out in our minds when we watch these shows like this.
You know what's interesting?
And why are they doing it? I'm like, why? Why are you putting this on TV?
Mhm.
And why is so much emphasis behind this? To letting your guards down and allowing your children in an environment in a time such as this, when you should be having more of your guards up than ever. Now they're encouraging you to let them down.
Mhm.
We gotta be careful about what we watch and what we take in.
Oh, yeah,
It's
I agree.
real.
I agree.
Mhm.
I think another way that we devalue black women is like there's not enough noise when we're victimized.
Mm.
Oftentimes there's not enough noise.
Mm.
And I think it's also I actually think a lot of it is desensitization.
Yeah.
Like we're desensitized to violence against black bodies.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to be so careful what you watch, because there is a desensitization. It's a process. You don't just wake up desensitized. You watch enough of it or live around enough of it, you get to a point where it's like, oh, that's just another person being victimized. Okay. You know what I mean? So we got to be careful with that as well. I think that's another way. That's not enough uproar. When something happened to our black men, oftentimes we're at the forefront of it. We're pushing whatever the movement is. I don't know if it's just that we're louder than them, but truth be told, I feel like there's not enough, even especially little black girls. young black girls. You could watch videos where a black girl is being victimized, right? Whether it's by the police or anything like that. And people have this idea, I'm really on this whole like journey within myself in finding ways of how to rehumanize black people, specifically black men, because we do not realize how much we've been dehumanized over the course of time, over the course of history, to the point where we've now internalized that dehumanization, right? We've internalized it to the point where we can see black bodies being, unfairly attacked, or violence is being done to that black body. And the first thing we want to say is, what did they do? Right? If it's a teenager and maybe she's just trying to stand her ground, you know what I mean? We got to be very careful around how we discuss these things, because there's a lot of respectability politics that's going around, and some of us have totally caught the bug, you know what I mean? Because we really generally, I'm not talking about carelessness like we spoke about earlier, there's that, but then there's also this thing as to where black people is not allowed to be human. Black people is not allowed to be angry. Black people is not allowed to have feelings. And when we do, it's often over exaggerated. You know what I mean? The person's perception of it is an over exaggerated one. You know what I mean? No, that's just a person that's angry because they've been done wrong. Right? But if it's somebody else that don't look like us, the other people, whatever, you pick one. You know what I mean? Whatever ethnicity, whatever race, whatever. If it's them, it's like, oh, shame on that person, shame on the cops, shame on the... But if it's a black body, even black people, if you read the comment section, we come in full force. Well, she shouldn't have did this, or she shouldn't have done that. These parents need to discipline their children at home. My child, I talk to my child. I'm raising 2 black boys now, okay? And I talk to my son, but I also know that my son is very assertive, and he's very insightful. And my son could be anywhere, and he can realize something is unfair. Are you telling me that my son, because of his blackness, loses his voice to stand for himself and say, this is unfair that's being done to me or my neighbor because he's black?
Well, I hear you, but I just have some reservations in some of what you're saying, because we're at war.
Yes.
And we gotta play chess. When we're at war, we're going to lose battles all over the place. I get that everybody is not going to be on the front lines of the battlefield. Everybody don't have the same understanding and wherewithal how to maneuver the landmine. I get all that. But I think that we need to do something other and different than what we're doing. Because as I'm hearing you talk, I'm thinking, so what's the solution?
So my question is, what are we fighting for then? Why are we at war? Are we on the defense in this war, or are we playing defense and offense?
That's my point. It's chess. Chess moves must be made, because if not, we're going to continue to lose battles.
So I guess I'm asking, what are we fighting for? Because if you're saying we're fighting for, which most people are saying we're fighting for the equal rights and all of this other stuff, right? That's what, if you're fighting for that, or you want to say, if you want to see black bodies be looked at on the same level as other bodies, if you're not saying that.
No.
Why are we at war then? What are we fighting for?
Now that's the point, because my mind goes all the way outside of the whole situation we're being confronted by police, because in my mind it's like we're gonna continue to have this issue until we find a way to get off of the titty of this system. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to continue to, our women and children and men being shot like dogs in the street by the police, well, we just keep moving in the direction we're moving. If we want to see something different, we got to do something different. And for me, I don't see no other solution than to separate yourself from this society and this environment that causes you so much turmoil.
No, I hear you, and I know that you're big on the whole separation piece. I hear that. But for those people who are still black bodies, who are not for separation, who are living in this society that claims that racism is something of the past. That everyone, now we know it's a lie, but this is the saying. People who have bought into multiculturalism, people who have bought into the whole diversity project, you know what I'm saying? All of these things, at the end of the day, we are human. And that's my stance. We are human. And everything that humans are allowed to do, and everything that humans are forgiven for, and everything that humans are excused for, we have a right to that. That's my issue.
No doubt.
You get what I'm saying? But
Right.
I hear you as far as
No
like
doubt.
there are some things that will never change.
Right. That's my
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
But that's my only point. It's like we continue going down this avenue and road, and we keep getting the same thing done to us over and over again, and nothing is changing. But we're not doing anything different to change it.
Right.
You know, we shout, we scream, we take a knee, we uproar, we get our picket signs. You know what I'm saying? We even vote in certain people we want done, but the situation still goes, and not only just goes, and it gets worse. Now we're going from bad to worse. So what are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know, we really got to get out of this box we find ourselves in, and a lot of us feel helpless when we're not. We're not helpless in the scenario.
Yeah.
We got a lot of options. We just not choosing different options that'll give us different results.
Yeah, but and also to the options that we do have, it's oftentimes not convenient enough for us as well.
Right. We got to make sacrifices,
yes,
and we're not willing to do that. So we die.
Right.
So we die.
But and not only that, you talked about coming off of the tedium of this system, right? A lot of black people don't realize that they are actually in a place right now where they can actually chew food. They can eat. They don't need the milk anymore. No, seriously. And so they're just, it's way past due. They think that if they come off the tip, they're going to die. And that's not true. That's not true. So it takes someone to tell them, if you're watching this, that's not true. It's a lie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's where strong leadership comes into play. Because strong leadership not only will tell you that, they'll show you how it's done.
Absolutely.
They'll show you how it's done. And I
There
think
you
that's
go,
what we lack a lot of currently, is that, or the leaders that are doing it and are willing to show us, we're not listening to.
Yeah.
We're not listening to.
Yeah.
We're listening to the ones that are still drinking the milk.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so here we are.
Yeah, I think that that we're talking about the value of black women.
Yeah,
I think
I know.
no, that's okay. We always do. That's what I love about this show. I think that black bodies are devalued, and then black bodies with vaginas are even more devalued. Like that's just a fact. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people don't like the word intersectionality, but that's a word that's kind of being tossed around a lot of late. Usually by the LGBTQ community. I like the word because it makes a lot of sense to me. And it's just simply saying that, you know, you're a woman. You're not just woman. You're also a black woman. You know what I'm saying? Then you're a professional black woman. Like there's a lot of different things involved with who you are or identify as in this society. You know what I mean? But I also think until our men begin to celebrate us, until our men begin to be attracted to us again, and that is not us not keeping ourselves up, and that is not us. That is not for the lack of beauty. That is us, black women, right? That is not for the lack of loyalty. That is often us, black women, because we are loyal to our men.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I don't let the media fool you.
Right.
We there. We got their backs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until we don't anymore. Yeah, because we get frustrated. Yeah, we get fed up sometimes. But yes, we do. So it's not that until our men start putting us on a pedestal once again, because we once were.
Yeah.
Until they return us to our former glory, we're going to always have this problem.
Yeah.
Because if our men don't want us, and if our men don't value us,
Yeah.
who are the protectors,
Yeah.
right? The culture, we hold the culture. The men protect it. So if you are not protecting that,
Good teacher. Yeah. And I see the destruction every day, all day, all these gender wars, you know, going on, and it's like the battle. We're fighting each other, and it's like, family, do you not understand what you're doing to yourself? How do you tear down as a man? How do you tear down any black woman without tearing down a part of yourself? And I think we don't recognize that as women. How do you tear down a man, without tearing down a part of yourself.
Because there's a disconnect. You know that.
Yeah. You know?
We're disconnected. And
And
of course, there's a lot of
frustrated.
reasons why that we've come to the point that we're at now. But there's a disconnect for sure.
Yeah.
We don't see each other as each other's reflection.
Not at all. Not at all. That's the part I recognize that we don't see within ourselves, because if you did, you wouldn't dare say half the things you said about the opposite sex.
You know what's
You
interesting?
knew that you was really talking about yourself.
You know what's interesting? All it takes is for something like on social media to come up, right? It could be anything. Of recent, it was the Aisha Curry situation. She had to talk on the red table. She said some things that people just didn't feel was the public's business. All it takes is for one like small thing like that to happen for our toxic emotions towards each other to surface. That's all it takes. If it's something that happened with a man, all the bitter black women and all the black women who have been done wrong by black men and just have not dealt or unpacked those, whatever feelings they have wrong or towards black men, they come out swinging.
Yeah.
Or all the women, even women and men who are online, so, they have this kind of pseudo admiration and love for black culture and black people. When things like this happen, you see the real them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm glad you brought that up, because I kept seeing her name pop up, and I'm like, okay, let me see what this is about. And so I watched the whole Red Table episode, and I'm like, oh, okay, she was just expressing herself. She
had a vulnerable moment.
Yeah, she had a vulnerable moment, sharing her deepest, innermost, what's the word I'm looking for? Insecurity. So she was insecure, and she shared that.
Human.
And then when I saw all the backlash from men and women, I was like, Jesus Christ, this woman is just expressing who she was. Why are we so uptight and emotional about somebody else expressing something, a part of themselves?
Yeah.
And for me, I see that as a form of insecurity within yourself.
Yeah.
That you can't even let that woman have that moment where she is wide open. That you got to tear her down in her most vulnerable state.
Yeah.
What does that say about you?
Exactly. And I also think that we also got to be careful with, even like with black women. I feel like we're often robbed of our authenticity. And the reason why I say that is because, like, for example, some of us just come from cultures that are loud. It has nothing to do with being hood. We're just loud. Okay? when you go around Africans from the continent, and they're like discussing politics and stuff, they get real rowdy. No one calls them ghetto. No one calls them ghetto. But when it comes to black Americans, loudness is somehow connected to being ghetto. You get what I'm saying?
Why? Because the European is not loud and rowdy, and they don't like that, and so they want you to be quiet and that way.
Right.
And so we pick on.
But that's what I'm saying. So what happens is we get robbed of our authenticity, and what I mean by that is that then you have black women that go into spaces and they have to pretend, or they have to turn the volume down on themselves. They cannot be themselves because the first thing, or they cannot even allow themselves to feel.
Or they get beat up for that too.
Yeah.
So if she sat there and said all kind of things on that Red Table Talk that was fake and phony, she'd have been tore down on that too. Oh, she ain't fake, she phony, she ain't real. So you can't win for losing.
Yeah, and not like I feel like we're required to practice a little bit more self-discipline around our emo. We're not doing the greatest job at it, but I think that it's almost expected of us. The reason why is because most black women are afraid of being called an angry black woman. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me.
It's a lie.
I know.
So, let me get Dwayne Perry's comment on this, because he said yes, the black woman is valued, appreciated, respected, supported, loved, and protected in every way by the black man. I acknowledge and feel that we have to work on doing much more, especially in the present time. We have to adjust to the present with the values, morals, and strength of the past, which has taught us, so we can be stronger, better, healthier, stable, successful, happier, and back together as one. So beautiful message
Yes.
in an ideal world.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, you know, and if more people
An ideal.
in an ideal world, if more people felt like him, the world would be a better place, no doubt.
For sure.
You
For
know,
sure.
so but I appreciate him sharing
Yeah,
that.
and I think to speak to that, you definitely, when you see black men that express those sentiments and they feel that way, you know, we should celebrate that.
Yes.
Because that shows you
Yes.
that all black men don't, is not against you, right?
That's right.
But I also think that I lost my train of thought around it. I lost my train of thought. I was
Yeah.
just about to say something.
Yeah, but
about
that's a
it.
good point
Mhm.
because you're right. You know, as bad as things may seem, there is always a flip side,
Mhm.
and the flip side is every black man. You know, there are a lot of black men who support black women.
Absolutely.
You know, a
Absolutely.
lot.
Because sometimes I would see like women maybe post something on social media, and I'm so tempted to tell her change her circle because I'd be like, "What black men are you around? What black men do you have in your space?"
I agree.
You know, because the common denominator might be you. You might be the toxic black body in this whole equation.
When
You know what I mean?
all you have is all negative responses and comments
Yeah.
and remarks.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, so my thing is like change your circle because there are good black men out there, you know, and just like there are good and great black women out there too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as even like we're talking about valuing black women, I think that's even a start. If you have to be honest on that journey. You have to be
Yeah.
really honest. That's what I'm telling you. Like within myself, I have to realize that there are some ways that I have allowed myself to dehumanize black men within my own psyche, though. Not like publicly, but just within my own psyche. You know, to where it's like, no, you're not allowed to do this. You know, because you're a man, and on top of that, you're a black man, and there's certain expectations. You know what I mean? But it's like, no, this is a human being with like real emotions and real struggles and real, you know what I mean? So I have to be cognizant of that all the time, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah. I'm glad being vulnerable. I'm glad you said that because I do find that we in denial a lot about a lot of the severities of our issues. You know, like for instance, I shared something yesterday online about a child being abused. A little black girl was caught in a bathroom with this white guy over in the UK
Little
somewhere.
boy?
Little boy probably looked like he was 12, 13, somewhere around that age. Little girl was 6. They were in the men's bathroom in the stall. He had his pants down. Parents caught him, or the mama caught him, or whatever. So it's just a small clip, but that's kind of the gist of the story. And all the responses was, they're white people monsters, and
yes, I saw your thing, yeah.
And you know what I'm saying, kill that beast, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I saw your
what about the beast in our own
selves
in our own homes, in our own communities? I mean, I think that we make excuses a lot of times for the things that we do that cause us, in our own society, in our own communities, a lot of damage, and we blame other people for it.
That's the other side of humanizing each other, though. That's more of the that's another side as far as the exaggeration, as far as blackness is concerned. You have the black girl magic type thing, movement going on. I think because of our history, right? We tend to, everything is okay. So I guess what I'm trying to say, if you touch my child, you black uncle of mine, you touch my son. I don't care what the white man did to who. You touch my child. You. Where's the responsibility? Where's the accountability? You understand what I'm saying? Because truth be told, when you touch my child, the person I want to murder, it's not white. That's not who comes to my mind. The person who's come to my mind is a perpetrator, which happens to look like me. People don't care about history in these instances. And the reality is us bringing up our former glory and we've taken on the white man stuff in these instances is ridiculous. And that's why they go unaddressed.
That's my point.
We are
That's
human
my
beings. We have
all.
darkness and light just like every other human being.
Okay.
Every other human being.
Right.
This is not a white thing or a black, like, that's just the truth.
That's my point. Because if I touched, or if I'm a man or whatever, let's just say, and I touched your son, like the same scenario you just gave me, and my response or your response is, oh, but that's not in our history. That was taught to us, the white man raped us in slavery, and that's why, I have this sickness, and that's why I touched your son. How is that now going to solve the problem of me touching your son?
Because we're so focused on macro. We're so focused on things that are far beyond our reach. We are trying to start from the outside in. And we need to start from the inside out. And the inside is our communities, is our families. And so when people come to me with that talk about, you can't talk to me about history and a 5-year-old was violated. I don't want to hear it. What are we going to do about this perpetrator right now?
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. That's my point. When I say we are in denial.
I know that, like you said, that ain't us. That ain't us. That ain't come from us.
Yeah.
I don't care where it came from.
Yeah.
My child or somebody else's child, because your child is still my child. Our children are being violated.
Yes. Yes. In epidemic proportions.
And creating some serious cyclical, just damaging things, damaging to the community, because that child then have to go out into the community. Then what?
Yeah, and they
damaged.
Yeah, that's real. In one way or another. And sometimes they take on the characteristics of the predator, and sometimes they're so damaged that they just, they destroy. They go on a warpath and destroy anything in their path. And that might come into my child's life.
Yes.
And so, she meets a man who falls in love, who was damaged, and he blacks her eye every other day.
Wow.
Because he's damaged. So we have to think in terms of communal. Because if we don't, we doomed. We don't, because I hear, what do you think about those who say, well, just take care of your home. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Just make sure your home is in order. And if your home is in order, then it's all good.
Take care of your home first. I like to put first on there. Can it be done concurrently to where you're taking care of your home and the community? Absolutely.
Do we have a responsibility to do that, to go outside of home? If we have a nucleus that is healthy, do we now have a responsibility to go outside of that and help others?
If you understand connectedness, if you understand your connection to the broader community, if you understand that, that it is absolutely important.
Yeah.
We must do that.
It's vital, because it's like because you become almost like a sitting duck.
Look what minding our business have done for us. What has minding your business done to our communities? There's a whole bunch, and I'm not talking, and we like to talk about perpetrators in the home, and we're still talking about the value of black girls here too. We like to talk about perpetrators in the home, but there are perpetrators on your corners, picking up them little schoolgirls, buying them McDonald's every day after school, grooming them, and you know it. But that's because that's the big bad wolf in the community. No one dare say anything, and our girls continue to get violated.
Yeah.
Violated. Now, the boys are a whole nother level. But since we're talking about black women and black girls today, I'm just going to stop there. Because there's a whole lot of unreported stuff happening to our boys.
Yeah.
A whole lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they just don't talk about it as frequently as the girls do.
Somebody, Bomo asks, as a whole, how do we as a people overcome these hurtful issues?
Good question.
What do you think?
Well, I think, again, I'm going back to my whole separation piece. I think that will cure a lot of the ailments. I think that we're we're in the hellfire attempting to get cool. You know what I'm saying? Fire's all around us. We're burning. We're sweating. We're, you know what I'm saying? Our skin is peeling from the fire. But we're asking somebody to bring in a fan, as opposed to getting out of this hellfire and getting yourself in an environment and in a more healthier environment to where you can now go about the day-to-day tasks of healing. But I think until we really seriously start to shape and mold our minds to that, we can expect more of the same. I really believe that.
I think we have to continue to have the conversations, as tough as they may be, because, like you say, it's almost like a straight gender war going on. So when we start, because there's hurt on both sides. There's hurt on both sides, and oftentimes it's like I have an indirect issue with you. It's not really you. It's what you represent. You represent my aunties who abused me, who psychologically abused me when I was younger, who talked down to me, who called me stupid. You look just like them, black woman, right? And black man, you remind me of my uncles, you know, that used to always tell me about how nice my legs are. You know what I mean? Or my uncle that touched me, you know, or you remind me, black uncle. You know, so there's like hurt on both sides. So when we get together, we have to be willing to tough it out. We got to be willing to tough it out. Like, literally, it's exhausting. Dealing with black people is exhausting, right? You can get burned out real fast. And it's not physically exhausting. It's more mentally and emotionally draining on an individual. We need to be able to tag off. All right, Alkema, I'm going to tag you and it's your turn. Because I take enough blows. I need to go catch myself. We have to be, that's where community comes in. You know what I'm saying? But we have to talk about it. As far as facing the issues, we can't face our issues. We can't deal with them if we keep running from them.
Yeah, what do we run to? What are some of the things that we run to for relief? I mean, you know, I think about like entertainment, you know, and how it as opposed to doing the work on self, we substitute a lot of times the work that we can be, the time we can be using to work on ourselves. We shove that to the side for entertainment's sake.
Okay.
Oh, my favorite show coming on. Oh,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? The Bad Boys of Comedy coming to town.
Yeah.
Can't miss that.
Yeah.
You know, the porn. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, let me take this you know, these drugs. Or let me, hit the liquor store.
You know what works with that? Challenges. Like, you know when people do like the green smoothie challenge, the CB detox challenge. Like, I think challenges work for that. Specifically, you could do something like a holistic healing challenge, but it may be focusing on one area at a time. Yes. 21 days, for example. I think that works with that. I think we could do more of that as women among ourselves, with each other. And even in those challenges, recommending a book. Yeah. You know, whether it be Queen Afua's book or, you know what I mean? Like some sort of enlightenment or self-empowering book. Yeah. You know, that's a start. That's a start. Because I think that you're right. We will replace it with, because it's an escape. Entertainment is our escape. You know, I mean, it always has been. It still is. That's how we escape. So I think doing like challenges where you still can do your low entertainment, or even a challenge to where you turn off the TV for 21 days. And we're just going to read this book together. You know what I mean? Like those, I think those type of challenges work. And of course, you can't do it and not check in. So I'll come out, how you been feeling today? You know, like let's say I know you're a heavy TV watcher, right? Which I know you're not. But let's say you are, and I'm like, well, it's day 3. You might be going through some serious withdrawal.
Right.
You don't miss your show 3 days in a row. That one thing that you watch all the time. Yeah. And you can't binge on Netflix or anything. Yeah. I have to check in. How are you feeling? And be honest with each other.
And that's a good point, because really that is the only way to change, is to do something different. Yes. You cannot change anything about yourself unless you make a commitment to do something different, even if it's in small steps and quantities. And it doesn't even have to be something that you found grueling, like I think of my sister Ife, the one who was on the show
Yes.
with us last week, Ife and Imhotep up in Baltimore. And Ife does this annual healing conference for women.
Yes.
And I find it entertaining. It's healing as well as entertainment at the same time. You know, there's workshops
And that is
involved.
possible.
Yeah, it's sisterhood, it's fun, and you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think that if we can realize, a lot of women out there, that it doesn't have to be this grueling task to, you know what I'm saying, to get to a better place. That you can actually, it can be fun, it can be exciting. It's just, you know, getting in the groove of mixing with people different than where you were before, your crowd before. But you have to do something different in your life in order to affect change.
Yeah.
You can't just wish it and pray it and hope it comes.
Yeah, and I oftentimes we're dealing with some really, really heavy things.
Yeah.
Really heavy.
Yeah.
And it's so heavy that we need help lifting it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to ask for help. I'm not asking you to help me with my baggage, because you just might ask what's in here.
And you might judge me.
Yes. And is it safe? And oftentimes the answer is no. We don't respect confidentiality. We don't respect personhood. We don't respect journeys.
Good point.
We do not respect journeys.
I so agree.
Yeah, we don't.
I so agree.
Yeah, it's very clear. Like, I'm sitting before you, and I could say I might know something about your journey, right? But I'm sitting before you, and I know that you've evolved, because the person who you said you were, I'm looking at you and saying, "Is that?" But I still want to take from your past and create gossip, right? And women are good for that. And
or
this is
hold you to it.
yeah, and this is why, like, I often can understand why it's hard for black men to trust black women. We're not good keepers of secrets.
That's real.
Yeah, we're not good keepers of secrets. We do not protect the image of our men. When they are attacked, we take that opportunity. They attack the thing that the person is attacking them about. Like, somebody could say, he wears his shirt so tight, he might be on the fruity side. We would take that opportunity to talk about the limp that he has that we hate. Okay? No, it's true. It's like, oh yeah,
And that limp.
Yeah, and that limp. Get on my nerve. We don't protect our men. We don't protect them enough. Just like we feel unprotected by them. I think black men will say the same oftentimes. You know what I mean?
And I'm glad you brought that in, where we don't allow people to evolve.
Yes, we do not respect journeys. Oh my gosh, no.
We really don't.
No.
You know,
and the thing is, we all have one.
Every last one of us, you know, should be evolving. And it's okay when we do it, but if somebody else do it, don't be in the public eye. Good God. Don't be in a public eye and you was displaced 10 years ago and now you're screaming something different.
Yes.
And it's, you know, it's like, no, how dare he say that? Because he's the same one that da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, that was 10 years ago. Maybe he has a different thought process. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he's grown from that place. And now he's somewhere else and he's sharing some information. But you can't get the information because you can't get past 10 years ago.
Yeah, you know, I used to look at evolution, like, I used to see it as a circle, like evolving, you know, like something going around or something. And I'm like, no. Evolution it goes upward. You know what I mean? And just like how we perceive the heavens being above, indeed it is. It is your higher self.
Yes.
That is your paradise.
The crown chakra.
Yeah, that is your paradise, right? And so it's like somebody's evolution. So when someone say, oh, they think they're better, indeed I am. I am better than I was yesterday. And you are not going to shame me for that. You understand what I'm saying? You're not going to take my past. And we have to be careful with that too. Because we meet people at a certain place. Let's say we're in relationships with people. Women. I'm speaking to women because we're talking about women today. Or our men. And you know that person to be a certain way. And then now they're evolving into this new person, right? And you don't really know what to do with them. Because you were a little more comfortable when they were, that other individual.
Yeah.
So now you don't know what to do with them. So then now you begin to attack them. Who do you think you are? I remember when. Well, you know what? You go on ahead and remember when. In fact, you should celebrate that memory you have of me, because you know what? I've moved on. So you're either going to catch up or be left in my smoke.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean?
That's why a lot of the relationships we foster early on, most of them don't tend to last.
Yeah.
Because people grow, people evolve,
Yeah.
people change, people go different paths.
Yeah.
And that should be respected.
Yeah.
You know?
But and that's why I always say, as women, I say to women, I guess it can apply to men too. I always say that when you get with someone, that you connect to someone from a place of deficit, from a place of where you have a void, and then you begin to love yourself, and now you are able to fix that deficit and to fill that void on yourself. That person is left out there on their own, because they no longer serve that purpose for you. So we cannot get with people out of those places of dysfunction.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you heal?
Yeah. Yeah.
What role do they play now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you hear people say, he no longer meets my needs.
Mm.
Yeah, because now you're loving on yourself.
Mm.
So you have to go in from the jump loving on yourself.
Yeah.
So that you're not leaning so heavy on someone. That's a heavy burden to give someone.
Yeah, but when you're loving on yourself from the jump, you attract different energies. So in a lot of instances, those same individuals aren't even in your peripheral. They're not even in your path, because you're somewhere else spiritually.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
But I definitely feel like, getting back to the value of black women, it starts with us black women. We have to value ourselves, not just ourselves, each other.
Yeah,
we
that's
lack
important.
sisterhood.
Yeah, that's real.
So,
That's real.
it's
That's another thing.
enough to go around. Why are you competing? Just take yourself out the race.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's this like imaginary race that we're running. And women, we carry this clock with us everywhere we go. We got that joint in our pocket. What time is it? I need to get this done by this time, by this age. I need to get this done. When you see another sister shining, allow that.
Yeah, celebrate that.
Celebrate that.
But that comes into how you feel about yourself.
Well,
though.
that's true.
That
Very
goes
true.
in. It's easier to do that when you're
Very true.
comfortable with who you are.
That's very true.
You're not comfortable with who you are, and you're looking
Everything
at
is a
somebody.
threat.
You're looking at somebody who has some things that you wish you had in yourself. Jealousy and envy rears its ugly head.
And they don't even have to have much.
It don't have to have much, and that's the importance of working on yourself. That's why it's so important to build up the value within yourself. Yeah. Because all that stuff fall by the wayside when you do. You know, when you do, you just you just blossom. I think you just blossom. Family. That is our Empower Hour.
Yeah, really
Yes,
quickly.
it is. We appreciate all you guys chiming in, speaking up, sharing, all the good stuff. Next week, we'll have in the studio with we've already shared. It's a family affair over here, so. Yeah. Next week in the studio with us will be Quiet Storm. So all you folks out there that are into astrology and astronomy and the stars and your zodiac signs and readings. Join us next week, because we'll have this phenomenal sister is going to be joining us, and she's going to be sharing with us some of the things that she's fascinating too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's really good
I'm
at
excited
it.
about that.
This Quiet Storm, so she'll be here with us next week. Okay, family. Until next week, take care of each other out there.
Peace.
Peace.
I think we were sad to see you all shut up. That's why I wanted him, and that was the sound effects. You like that? That was good.
The mic's on. All right, Facebook fam. Sorry, my son farted on the table.